and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing the Dungeons and Dragons book tag. This was created by Jem over at The Creepy Geek and Ashleigh over in Ashleigh's Bookish Life. I was tagged by Ladette M a while ago, but everything is tagged down below, so please go check them out. So let's just jump right into it. I've got my trusty notebook. So question number 1 is Everyone's Dead, a character with a tragic backstory. I thought this would be really easy, stupidly, but I eventually set on, oh, there goes my D20, Bones and All by Camille DeAngelis. This follows a teenage girl called Marin, who is a cannibal and has been since she was very young. And the book starts off with her mum basically leaving her at 16, and it is Marin trying to find her way through living life and having to eat people. And it is quite tragic because there's lots of stuff in her backstory that makes you feel sorry for her, even though she is a cannibal and she's a murderer and she's killed an awful lot of people. But you like Marin. Marin is a very sympathetic character. You fall kind of for her charms, and I guess that's kind of the scary thing about this book. It is a thriller. No, sorry, it is a horror. There is a lot of blood, guts, gore. If that's not your cup of tea, you won't like this. But it is very literary as well, and it really touches upon emotions and human connection, and how when you find someone who is like you, how much that kind of can help you in the long run. So there is that. So I've chosen that one as my number 1 for a tragic backstory. I think it fits. Question number 2 is Roll Persuasion With Advantage, which is an autobuy author. This will be no shock. If this is a surprise for you, then you must be on my channel for the first time. But that is going to be the wonderful Christina Henry, who writes a lot of children's story retellings, but they are horrific and terrifying. I first read Alice by Christina Henry. I'm a massive Alice in Wonderland fan, have been for forever. But this makes the actions in Alice in Wonderland absolutely terrifying, and Wonderland is not as wonderful as you once think. And the Hatter is Hatcher, and Alice is not safe in Wonderland. She isn't anyway in the Alice in Wonderland stories, but this cranks it up to like 1,000. But she also has written retellings for Peter Pan, Little Mermaid, stuff like that. I can't remember through my head, but I've read all of her books. I haven't loved all of them, don't get me wrong, but I have enjoyed most of the things I have read by Christina Henry. So anything they come out with, I will snatch up really, really quickly. And I know she's got a new one on the way, and I am super duper excited. But if you like horror and you like retellings, I can recommend Christina Henry to you. Not everyone's cup of tea, I understand. Some people have tried it and have hated it, but it's definitely, I'm definitely a big fan. So that's my recommendation for an autobuy author, or my autobuy author. The next question I really enjoy is Me and the Boys Gonna Mess You Up, and that's an ensemble cast you love. And I've gone really basic with this because I kind of found that I hadn't read much ensemble casts that I really loved in that way. So I've chosen Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. If you've been living under a rock, then you don't know what this book is, but it is heists, it is fun, it is fast paced. I tabbed this. This is the special collector's edition. I absolutely adore it. It is so pretty. And yeah, it's amazing. The Crows as a group is amazing. Kaz is a really interesting leader. They're all very flawed people, and I think that's what I love about them. And they are so accepting as well. And I love the tie-ins to the other stuff in Leigh Bardugo's world. The Grishaverse, I absolutely love the magic system. It's exciting. I love Ketterdam. That is a rich expanse of land, and the lore and all of that stuff. My favourite character by far is Jasper. If you know, you know. And if you haven't read this yet, I can definitely say start with Shadow and Bone, because I like Shadow and Bone, but I don't think you can read Shadow and Bone after Six of Crows because you won't like it as much. But I read it in, so Shadow and Bone and then Six of Crows. So the Shadow and Bone trilogy, then the Six of Crows duology, and then I read King of Scars duology, which I things start to go downhill from there. But we don't need to talk about that because the crows are who we're talking about. The dynamic is so fun. And yeah, if you like a heist book, if you like lots of fast-paced magic stuff, this is the book for you. Next up is I Rolled a 1, a character that tries their best but keeps failing. Again, I thought this one would be super simple. No, I had to think for a bit. God forbid I have to use my brain. But I picked Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. Now, we follow the character of Piranesi, and it's basically his diary, and he just gets lost all the time. Apart from the fact he's not lost, he just can't find the exit. But he does keep on failing, and it kind of gets more and more crazy as time goes on. And I love this book. I want to reread it desperately. But yeah, there are some people who didn't like it, who thinks it's boring and repetitive. I cannot disagree more. This was amazing. This is fun. It's literary. I think you have to go in with the expectation you're not going to understand what is happening, and you just have to be okay with it, to be honest with you. Because when you kind of get what's going on, it's one of those oh moments, and I think when you understand it, I think this is absolutely genius, and I love it. Absolutely loved it. Question number 5 is To Tame The Floof, a book with a dangerous creature you'd love to have as a pet. I have chosen now, and you might say this is a cop-out because maybe, but I've chosen Impossible Creatures by Catherine Rundell. This has a wide variety of magical creatures. I mean, it starts, for one, with basically a compendium, a bestiary, and it runs down a bunch of mythical beasts. But I personally would really like the tiny little pocket dragon that appears in this because he's adorable, and I think he'd be great at toasting marshmallows because he is a dragon and he makes sure everyone fucking knows it. This is a middle grade. I really enjoyed this. It's quite young. It read quite young for me, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. And as I said, it has got a bunch of magical creatures that the characters in this come across. We follow a young boy. He is actually the heir to basically protecting the portal into this magical world where all magical creatures are. They do exist, they just don't exist in our realm anymore because humans are awful. And sometimes they come through. A griffin comes through. That's what we're first introduced to. And we follow the adventures of this little boy and the griffin as we go through. And I just really loved it. It's a really nice story. And the adults in this world pay attention to the kids. And that's rare in middle grades these days, I find. But then, yeah. So the floof I want to tame is the little pocket dragon because he's great. The next one is the DM rolls unexpectedly. That is, by the way, the most terrifying thing that can happen in a D&D game, where you think everything's fine, and then the DM suddenly starts rolling and you think, oh shit, something's happening. Sometimes they do it just for the shits and gigs though, so tricksy. But, so that is a book that surprised you. And I've gone with The Beautiful Ones by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This one is a historical romance, I would say, which is not my cup of tea by any stretch of the imagination. But I enjoy Silvia Moreno Garcia's writing. She does a really interesting thing here with the main character. There is some supernatural stuff though, because the main character has a telekinetic ability. I'm just trying to remember her name. Nina. Nina has these telekinetic abilities, and she meets a man who also has telekinetic abilities, but he's a bit of a cad, really, a bit of a shit, and she kind of learns that throughout the thing that he's actually in love with her cousin, and it's all a bit, you know, a bit gross, and he's a lot older than she is, and it's all a bit, but it is definitely a romance. That is the main plot of this, which I don't like romance. Anyone who knows me or has seen anything on this channel, I tend to not do romance, but I really enjoyed this one. So if you like Silvia Moreno Garcia's writing, you might actually find that you enjoy this more than you think you might, because there is that supernatural ability stuff in here. There is some political stuff, there is some internal kind of family politics that people might find interesting. So yeah, there are things going for this. So I'd say definitely give it a go, because it surprised me how much I enjoyed it. The next question is I Would Like to Rage, is a character with anger issues. Now, I'd Like to Rage is a Critical Role inspired quote. Grog from campaign 1 of Critical Role used to say that, and it is one of my favourite things ever. Imagining a barbarian like, I'd like to rage now. Great. Anyway, I have chosen, and this one is a little bit, an argument could be made that I could be wrong, but I know that I'm right. And that is Isaac and the Egg by Bobby Palmer. Isaac is a man who's deeply troubled and has gone through some deep trauma. And I think that, I mean, the egg is there. The egg is supposed to symbolise a whole bunch of shit, basically. And it is heartbreaking. It's one of the most heartbreaking reads I think I've ever read. Thank you, Emma, from Emma Novella, for, you know, recommending this book to me, because it did tear my heart out and it did stomp on it, and I think I did cry. So, all in all, great recommendation. I joke, but this was great, and it is wonderful. It is heartbreaking. It is literary, but there are moments where Isaac puts his fist through walls. Which I can't really blame him, considering everything that happened to him, the poor man. So I can't really blame him for having anger issues, but they are there. Definitely they're there. So I think I nailed it, personally, but then that's just me. The next question is 8, and that is Thrust For Seduction, which is a spicy book. I don't own any of the ones I'm going to recommend for this, but I have chosen, because I've been in this absolute ridiculous era where I've been listening to the audiobooks, because they're all on Scribd or Everand or whatever it's called now, and that is the Dark Olympus series by Katie Roberts. It starts with, oh no, what's it called? It doesn't matter, it'll be on the screen anyway. But the Dark Olympus series, it's a Hades and Persephone retelling, the first one, and it gets more crime mafia as the series goes on, and they kind of become unrecognisable characters. Do we care? No, not even a little bit. I don't care. Couldn't care less, actually, and I really enjoyed it. It's great, it's wonderful. So if you haven't read those and you like a bit of spicy, you like a bit of kink, I can definitely recommend that, because it is sprinkled in there. But question number 9 is, how do you want to do this? Which is the way Matt Mercer always says. When you kill a monster is, how do you want to do this? It's really cool. It's a book with a satisfying ending, and I have chosen Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This is such a good sci-fi book. I think I want to try and recommend it to everyone, and every single recommendations video, tag video, I'm going to try and shoehorn it in there somewhere. Andy Weir is a fucking genius. This book is great. It doesn't end the way I thought it was going to end either, but actually it is the best ending that could have happened. And if you know about the other character in this book, you know. But it basically follows this guy who wakes up on a spaceship and has no memory. He's alone. No one else is on the ship with him. And he does not remember why he's there. He doesn't even remember his own name. And it follows him as he works out what the hell he's meant to be doing on this spaceship. And yeah, he does. And he uses all his resources. And yeah, when he meets a certain character, things look up from there. Let's just say that. It is great. It's a story of friendship, a story of trust. It's a story of exploration, and there are sciencey stuff in it, but it doesn't talk down to you once, which is a win-win in my book. So if you have been tempted by any of Andy Weir's writing, I would definitely pick up Project Hail Mary. If you've read The Martian, you will love this. The characters of Mark Watney and, I can't remember his name, which is ironic, and Ryland are very similar, but also different enough to be different characters, you know? So I'd definitely pick this one up if you liked The Martian, or you're just looking for a fun sci-fi. Can I introduce you to Project Hail Mary? And yeah, that was it. That was all the questions answered. But the last one is question 10, gather your party, and that's to tag 3 friends. I'm going to be tagging Celine from Stuff Celine Does, because we used to play D&D together, and I'd love to see from her book collection what she would put to these. Abby from Abbey of Pelennor, again, I know you've got such a rich collection of books, I would love to see you take on this book tag. And Becca from the Comic Book Sanctum, because again, I'd love to see some of your recommendations with manga and such. I'd be really interested. But yeah, everyone is linked down below. Please go check everyone out, because they're all amazing people. If you could comment, I don't know, a little dice emoji if they have them. I don't know if they do.